Have you ever looked in the mirror one morning and thought, when did my jawline change? When did my chin start to soften? It happens quietly. One day the face you've known your whole life looks just a little different. Your jaw isn't as defined, your neck isn't as long, and suddenly you notice a shadow or curve under your chin that wasn't there before. What most women don't realize is that this shift is completely normal. It's not a failure, it's not a sign that you've let yourself go, and it's certainly not something unique to you. It's simply how the face naturally evolves after 50. But here's the part many people miss: sometimes it's not the aging itself that makes the lower face look heavier. It's the hairstyle surrounding it. Hair can lift the face or pull it down. It can highlight the jaw or soften it. It can make the neck appear longer, or it can place all the emphasis right where you least want it. You might be surprised by how much a haircut can either reveal or conceal the early signs of a softening jawline. In today's video, we're going to look at how to choose hairstyles that support your features instead of working against them. This isn't about judging the styles you've worn for years. It's about understanding how to adjust them so they flatter the face you have now, not the one you had 10 or 20 years ago. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why certain cuts make your lower face more noticeable, and how small, strategic changes can completely transform the way your jawline and neck appear. And as we move into the next section, I'll share a story from one of my clients, someone who felt her face had changed overnight until her haircut finally started working with her instead of against her. When women hit their 50s, the way hair interacts with the face changes more than most people realize. One foundational rule becomes impossible to ignore: where the hair carries weight, the eye stops. This isn't a poetic idea, it's a visual principle every stylist quietly works with. If the heaviest part of your hairstyle sits at the jawline, under the chin, or around the neck, that is exactly where people will look first. And for many women over 50, those areas naturally begin to soften as part of aging. After midlife, several predictable shifts happen in facial structure. The skin gradually loses elasticity as collagen and elastin decrease. According to dermatologic research, collagen production drops about 1% each year after age 40. As a result, the lower face begins to change shape. The once defined jawline becomes less sharp, and the subtle pockets of fat on each side of the mouth descend into what we recognize as jowls. At the same time, facial fat redistributes. The fullness that used to sit high on the cheeks slowly moves downward, creating more volume under the chin and giving the neck a slightly shorter appearance. Because of these changes, hair placement becomes far more influential. Hair that ends sharply at the jawline automatically frames the very area most women would prefer to soften. Heavy, one-length hair that falls straight down the sides of the face creates a vertical visual pull that leads the eye directly to the lower third of the face. Even long, sleek styles that used to look elegant in earlier decades can start to emphasize sagging simply because the weight of the hair settles at the neckline and shoulders, pulling visual attention downward. This is why mature faces benefit from strategic hair positioning rather than simply holding onto old habits. When volume and movement are placed higher near the temples, cheekbones, or crown, the visual focus shifts upward. Light layering around the face prevents the eye from sliding straight down to the chin. A subtle lift at the roots creates the illusion of a more upright facial structure. Even small changes like adjusting the part or removing excess weight at the ends can redirect attention toward the eyes, where expression and energy remain strongest. These age-related shifts aren't flaws, they're structural changes that require a different design approach. The goal isn't to fight aging but to align the hairstyle with the natural evolution of the face. When the cut reinforces the softer contours of the lower face, it unintentionally highlights them. When the cut strengthens the upper part of the visual frame, it creates balance, clarity, and a sense of lift. Understanding this foundation sets the stage for the next step. Identifying the specific haircut shapes that most often place weight in the danger zones, the jawline, the lower cheeks, and the neckline, and learning how to adjust them so they work with, not against, a mature face. A chin-length bob is one of the most deceptively tricky cuts for women over 50. On paper, it looks clean, modern, and universally flattering. In reality, the blunt line that sits directly at the jaw can create an optical frame in the very area many more women prefer not to highlight. When the heaviest part of the haircut rests at the widest point of the lower face, it produces a horizontal weight line that makes the jaw look broader and the neck appear shorter. This isn't a matter of the face changing overnight, it's simply the visual effect of placing a strong geometric edge at a structurally softer area of the face. A chin-length bob also stops the eye exactly where you don't want it to linger. Because the human eye naturally travels along edges and areas of visual weight, a hard cut at the jawline pulls all attention to the jowls, the curve under the chin, and any fullness in the lower face. Even women who have worn bobs their entire lives often find that the same haircut becomes less forgiving after 50, not because they suddenly don't suit short hair, but because the emphasis has shifted from showcasing the cheekbones to spotlighting the jawline. The most effective adjustment is to lower the line of the bob, dropping the length just 1 to 3 centimeters below. The chin releases the visual pressure at the jaw and pulls the focus downward, creating a smoother transition between the face and neck. This subtle extension instantly elongates the lower face and gives the neck a longer, more graceful appearance. Soft layering is another key modification. A blunt one-length bob tends to form a heavy block of weight. Adding light, well-distributed layers along the front breaks up that density and introduces movement. Instead of stopping the eye at a solid horizontal edge, the layers guide it inward and upward, toward the cheekbones and eyes. The goal isn't to make the haircut choppy, but to create gentle shifts in length that loosen the visual anchor at the brow. A side-swept bang can further lift the overall structure. By placing a diagonal line across the upper third of the face, it redirects attention away from the lower face and toward the eyes. The angled movement also adds dimensional balance, making the bob feel less boxy and more dynamic. Finally, a slight front graduation where the hair angles longer toward the front helps contour the neckline. This forward length creates a tapered line that visually extends the neck and gives the silhouette a more refined shape. It's a small design choice with a surprisingly strong impact on facial proportions. A recent client in her mid-50s illustrated this perfectly. She had worn a classic chin-length bob for years, but suddenly felt her face looked wider in photos. Her jawline hadn't changed as dramatically as she believed. The haircut was simply placing too much weight at the wrong point. By lowering the bob about 3 centimeters, adding soft face framing layers, and shifting her part slightly, her entire profile looked lighter and more lifted. She didn't need a new style, she just needed a smarter version of the one she already loved. A very tight pixie can be surprisingly unforgiving on a mature face, even though it seems like a fresh, low-maintenance option. When the sides are cropped too close, and the back is cut into a sharp square shape, the haircut exposes the entire lower third of the face without offering any visual support. For women over 50, this is the area where softness naturally appears along the jawline, under the chin, and around the neck. Without any hair to frame or balance these features, the lower face becomes the unintentional focal point. Straight vertical lines created by a tight pixie add to the challenge. They offer no curvature, no contour, and no softness to counterbalance the gradual descent of facial volume that occurs with age. These hard lines can make the cheeks appear flatter, the jawline more pronounced, and the neck shorter. Instead of lifting the face, the cut draws the eye down, highlighting exactly what most women prefer to minimize. The solution isn't abandoning the pixie, it's reshaping it. Leaving just a bit more length along the sides makes a dramatic difference. When the hair curves gently over the temples and skims the upper cheekbone, it creates a frame that supports the face and restores a sense of structure. This subtle contour helps guide the eye upward instead of letting it fall toward the jaw. The nape should also follow a softer, more natural line. A tapered, rounded finish at the back of the neck adds movement and creates a lifting effect when viewed from the side. Harsh, squared-off napes can visually cut off the neck, while a softly sculpted one elongates it. Volume at the crown is another essential adjustment. Adding height at the top balances the natural weight of the lower face and introduces vertical movement, the key to creating a more youthful, elevated silhouette. It doesn't require dramatic styling, even a slight lift changes the entire proportion of the cut. A long, side-swept fringe can complete the transformation. This diagonal line breaks up the symmetry of the forehead and draws attention upward toward the eyes. It creates depth and dimension, helping soften the angles and restoring harmony to the features. I once worked with a 60-year-old client who had just cut her hair into a very tight pixie. She expected it to look modern and effortless, but instead she felt exposed and older. The close sides made her jowls more noticeable, and the sharp nape made her neck appear shorter. We didn't change her hairstyle entirely, we simply rebuilt it. By adding length around the sides, reshaping the nape into a soft taper, opening up volume at the crown, and blending in a long fringe, her face instantly looked balanced again. The difference wasn't in the length, it was in the structure. Long, one-length hair may feel classic and safe, but on a mature face it often becomes heavier than intended. When the cut has no layers and all the weight settles at the bottom, the visual center of gravity shifts downward. The eye naturally follows the line of the hair, and with a blunt, solid length, that line leads straight to the shoulders, the base of the neck, and the area beneath the chin. For women over 50, when the jawline softens and fullness tends to accumulate under the chin, this heavy endpoint can unintentionally emphasize the lower face. A single-length cut also creates a curtain effect. Because there is no movement around the mid-face or cheekbones, the entire silhouette appears longer and flatter. The face loses dimension, and the hair acts like a weight pulling the features downward. Even women with naturally thick, healthy hair notice that the lower third of the face becomes more pronounced when the top and sides lack lift or layers. It's not that long hair becomes unsuitable with age, it simply needs a smarter structure to support the facial proportions. The most effective correction is to lift the shape of the long hair without sacrificing length. Face framing layers that begin around the cheekbones can open the features immediately. These layers add softness around the mid-face, guiding the eye toward the eyes and cheek structure instead of sliding down to the chin. When the layers are cut with a gentle, forward-moving angle, they create movement without thinning the hair excessively. Texture is equally important. Slight waves, a soft bend through the mid-lengths, or subtle blow-dry volume can break up the heavy vertical lines that long, straight hair creates. Texture introduces contrast, and contrast keeps the eye moving upward. This doesn't require curls, just a hint of movement is enough to bring the style to life and counteract the downward pull. A curtain bang or side-swept bang can also rebalance the proportions beautifully. The upper third of the face often benefits from added softness after 50, and a well-placed fringe draws attention to the eyes while offsetting a heavier jawline. Curtain bangs in particular blend seamlessly into long layers, creating a cohesive, flowing frame around the face. The ends of the hair should not be ignored. Tapering or lightly thinning the bottom removes the block of weight that accumulates in one-length cuts. A refined, softer finish allows the hair to fall more elegantly and prevents the silhouette from forming a heavy mass at the shoulders. A client of mine, a 52-year-old woman who had worn straight, one-length hair for decades, came in feeling that her style was aging her even though she loved her length. Her face looked tired in photos, and she couldn't pinpoint why. We kept her length exactly as she wanted, but introduced face framing layers, added gentle movement through the midsection, created soft curtain bangs, and refined the ends. The transformation was immediate. Her features looked lifted, her expression more open, and her whole silhouette felt lighter without sacrificing even an inch of the long hair she loved. Selecting a hairstyle that flatters a softer jawline or a fuller neck requires thoughtful design rather than trend following. Through years of working with mature clients, certain principles consistently create lift, balance, and refinement. These guidelines reflect how the face evolves with age and how hair can either enhance or counteract those changes. The first priority is avoiding haircut lengths that end directly at sensitive areas. When a cut stops at the jawline, beneath the chin, or along the base of the neck, it unintentionally frames those points. Research from the American Academy of Facial Aesthetics notes that more than 2/3 of women over 50 experience increased fullness under the chin, which becomes more prominent when emphasized by the hard edge of a haircut. Soft, curved shaping is more flattering than straight, rigid lines, as facial contours naturally become rounder with age. Curved layers and blended transitions echo the face's structure and create a more harmonious overall appearance. In contrast, geometric edges intensify the contrast between the haircut and the features, drawing attention downward. Placing volume in the upper portion of the face is essential. Collagen production decreases by 1 to 2% annually beginning in midlife, leading to subtle facial descent. Height at the crown introduces vertical movement that visually lifts the overall silhouette. Without this upward shift, the face can appear heavier simply due to the weight distribution of the hairstyle. Soft, strategically placed layers play a key role in supporting mature facial features. Layers remove unnecessary bulk, add controlled movement, and prevent hair from forming a heavy mass around the jaw. This creates a more balanced frame while preserving the integrity and thickness of the hair. Side-swept or curtain bangs remain exceptionally effective for redirecting attention toward the eyes. These fringes soften the upper third of the face and help counterbalance any fullness in the lower third. Their gradual angles blend seamlessly with most medium and long styles, enhancing proportion without overwhelming the face. The most adaptable and flattering length for many women with lower face volume falls just below the chin and extends to the collarbone. This range avoids placing weight directly at the jaw while providing enough length for shaping and movement. Cuts within this zone typically offer the most versatility and require minimal structural compromise. Face framing highlights are another subtle yet impactful tool. Soft brightness around the eyes and cheekbones adds dimension and draws the viewer's focus upward. Even minimal placement can increase vibrancy and contribute to a more lifted appearance. A slight off-center part further enhances the visual structure. This small adjustment disrupts the vertical line created by a middle part and introduces gentle asymmetry, which adds lift and softens the overall frame. The shift requires no maintenance yet delivers instant balance. Styling choices, including clothing and accessories, also influence how the hairstyle interacts with the face. Open necklines and elongated earrings help visually extend the neck and counteract lower face fullness. When hairstyle, neckline, and accessories work together, they create a cohesive, elongated silhouette. Above all, a hairstyle should support both the features and the energy of the individual wearing it. The goal is not to conceal age, but to complement the natural evolution of the face. A well-designed cut aligns with a woman's present identity, enhances her expression, and creates a refined, elevated appearance without demanding dramatic change. Here's the truth: your face isn't the issue, your haircut just needs a better frame. When the shape is right, your jawline looks lighter, your neck looks longer, and you look refreshed in the most natural way. Beauty after 50 isn't about hiding, it's about choosing a style that lifts your features and matches the confidence you've earned. Choose a cut that highlights what you love and softens what you want to ease. And remember, the most powerful lift you can give your face is the smile you start the day with. If this video helped you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Tell me in the comments how old are you, and what hairstyle are you wearing right now? Your story might inspire someone else. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.